ordered a
familiar with
weighted
this?
vest after your video, so I haven't tried it yet
Oh,
because
I
I've
wanna
been
get
out
one
of
too.
town. But I did order
I'll show
it.
you the link to the one I ordered.
Okay.
And we'll
'cause there's-
show it to you in the comment or in the somewhere below.
I think the big thing for
Not sponsored.
women, not at all sponsored.
but could be.
Welcome to the Bloom Era. Join Marie, Michelle, Vita, and Michelle, 4 lifelong friends, on our journey through perimenopause. We'll share our stories, insights, and laughter as we embrace this new stage of womanhood. Let's bloom together. Why am I so nervous?
Welcome to the Bloom Era podcast. We are in the middle of our program called the 4-Week Pause, and that is 28 days to pause and establish healthy habits to help you bloom through perimenopause and beyond. And so we are literally 2 weeks into this program. We're having a blast. We're seeing lots of neat results from it. And so the Pause has 7 habits that we're trying to be very intentional about as we go into and go through perimenopause. One of those habits is movement and just the commitment and the intentionality of movement. I think Michelle's gonna.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about movement and why it's important as we begin our menopause journey, what it can help with, and what is movement and how much movement do you need. So first of all, I think one of the most obvious reasons is we all hear about like osteopenia, osteoporosis. Just as our estrogen levels decrease, our bones get weaker. So just regular movement is great to build your bone strength. One thing I've been doing lately is I've been wearing a weighted vest because there's been studies of people in nursing homes, and that's a great way to prevent osteoporosis. So I just bought on Amazon a 12-pound vest, and I do my walks in it, and I don't really feel any difference. My heart rate doesn't seem to be higher or anything, but I'm like, maybe I'm just putting money in the bank, as so to say, like I'm helping, prevent osteoporosis. So that's one big thing. The other reason is as we get older, our metabolism is getting slower. So just regular movement helps keep our metabolism up, helps the battle of the bulge, helps with some of this visceral fat weight gain we can have in perimenopause and as we get older.
And that's the big one, right? Visceral fat is.
Yeah, that's the one we're worried about. So got to keep that fat off. And that's where we're talking about fat around your organs. And the big way you see that is belly fat. Another big thing, and I notice this with myself and with my children, is mood management. And it's so hard when you're in a mood and you're feeling depressed or sad or whatever. You don't feel like moving, but as soon as you do, you feel better. So I made my 13-year-old do this the other day. She was overwhelmed with life, and I was like, I'm going for a walk. Come with me. And she didn't want to, but I made her, and she was in a better mood. And I see this when she does her tennis classes. She's in such a good mood afterwards. So it's just those endorphins, just moving, sometimes just being outside or moving your body, getting the blood flow. I don't know how it works, but do you guys see this? Do you notice the change in your mood?
Yes, definitely.
So weird, went to school for marriage and family therapy. They would talk about one of the hardest addictions is a sex addiction because all the chemicals just live in your brain. You don't have to go anywhere. But I mean, it's kind of that same thing. Like we have an amazing pharmacy in our brain that can be activated by movement. And so like we can just tap into it. It's so simple, but we don't do it because feels far away.
And that's like it helps the mood, but it also helps like if I like I said, my daughter was overwhelmed, so I made her go on a walk with me, and that like helped us talk and bond. And my husband and I, since we first were married, we've always gone on walks together, and that's when we get our talking done. And I think there's something about not having to look right across, but you're still like moving. So it's also stacking your life. You're getting like quality time in and your movement. So you're not like, oh, I have to get all this movement in, but I don't have time to spend time with my family. It's like, no, bring them with you. So
Absolutely. Like, and I think I told you guys this, like I was watching it. My son Otis has a lot of issues with like mood and things like that. And I'm just praying like, okay, God, how do we help him? And he's like, watch Caesar Milan, right? Like the dog whisperer. And Caesar's like, an anxious dog is a dog that needs to go outside, that needs a walk. Right. And I was like, Otis, up. But yeah, no, I 100% am about
like,
this.
For your children, but for you too. Like last weekend, I was just like tired and in a mood and didn't feel like doing anything. So I didn't go on a walk. But like as soon as I make myself do it, it literally changes the rest of my day. Like my mood gets so much better. It's just so hard to take that first step.
Yeah, I think I had the same. Like, I think I think at least both of us were on our periods last week. And I was just kind of in a mood, like you said, just like, ugh, the typical period, just low motivation. I don't want to do anything. And it's funny because the boys, we've incorporated, we go to the YMCA, and I know you do too. And it's a big part of like our weekly lives or whatnot. And the kids love it because they go to the Y play and they know the ladies there that kind of watch them and the kids there. They get to see some of their friends from school. So sometimes I think that day, me and Sean were both kind of like, oh, we're tired. Like, let's just go home. But it was funny because Bodie was like, no, I want to go to the Y. Because I guess he just want to go play some more after school. So I was like, oh, he wants to go to the Y. Like, before it was like us trying to drag them to like, because they didn't want to be in the daycare. But now they're older and they have friends, so they're fine. But yeah, so we went and like at the end of it, I was like, oh, I'm so happy I went.
Yeah.
Like, I feel so much better. Like, even though I was like tired beforehand, but came out like a bunch of energy and like wanted to, we went to like Target and out to eat afterwards or something like that. It was just like, oh, okay, just kind of sparked something.
Yeah. Especially when you're going with Sean and when you're going with your family, it makes it feel like, it's awful when you feel like, oh, I've got to do all this stuff by myself and I really just want to spend time with my family. But if you can incorporate it,
yes, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I feel like you said, just kind of being able to go to the Y, which is like a family center, it makes it a big family event. I don't feel like we are leaving the boys for an hour, but they're happy. They're with their friends. It's extra playtime. So it doesn't seem like a burden to the family overall. I feel like it's an add-on to our lives. So yeah, I think incorporating your family into whatever it is you're doing, I think is great.
Yeah. And I think that's probably an additional mood booster as well. Because first of all, just the movement, but second of all, you're spending quality time with the people you love best. So that's good. And another thing is sleep. So I don't know if you guys been like waking up in the middle of the night at all. Is that something that's happening?
I've done that forever.
Yeah.
I've always had
I'm a pretty good sleeper. So
I am waking up now in the middle of the night, and it's been a couple years of this. And the last couple of weeks, I've been like, I'm up at 3. I'm just getting up at 3.
and you're staying up?
Wow. No, I've been waking up at 3, and I never did before. Like, my husband's always been one who wakes up multiple times. I'm a sleeper, but I have been waking up, and then I stay awake a little bit, probably because I've got sleep hygiene. And then when I wake up, I look at my phone. That makes it harder to go back to sleep. But that's what's been going on. But a good way to help you sleep longer and harder is by having movement. Because if you've been too restful all day, you don't need as much rest. So I've noticed days where I do a longer hike or harder hike, I sleep longer and without as much interruptions.
I find that the same thing whenever we take the kids for a hike or when I do my workouts in. I'll sleep better that night, especially if I do it closer to bedtime. I'm like, knock right out kind of thing.
I find another benefit of it is, like you said, it's like it kind of like it's a mood booster, but it also kind of gets your energy going, if that makes sense. I notice the days when we don't go to the gym, and I feel like I'm less productive at home too. Like I'm just like not cleaning or not picking up and stuff like that. But if I go to the gym for some reason, even though I did that extra activity and I have less time, I feel like I come home like gotta make dinner, gotta clean everything up, get everything ready for the next day. I feel like that's another benefit to it. I don't know if you're just kind of, your brain is already like on go mode versus just like relax mode. I don't know.
I'm sure there's some like scientific brain scientist way why they know why that happens, but that's so true. It's like, it's just so hard to get yourself going. And especially on the weekends, if you don't have anywhere you have to be, you're like, oh, just take it easy. But as soon as you start going, you're like, then you can clean the house and then you can get other stuff done. Yeah, exactly. I'm the exact same way.
I'm the same way. Like, and I'm very like sedentary, like, and I love being sedentary. Like there isn't a part of me that's like, oh, I wish this was different. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to sit here. But the minute I do a walk or do something, then I get back in the house, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know. There's like a trigger in your brain that's like, not that, I don't know. Are you a new person? I don't know. Like it's like your identity shifts. You're like, oh, I am a productive person. I am going to start dinner the way I thought I would start dinner, whatever. Like,
I would say it's like, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Like that's how my husband describes me and my youngest daughter. And it is like hard to get us going. But once we're going, we're fine. Like we're great. But like to get us to leave the house or to do anything, we're like, okay. So it takes us, but yeah, once you start, then the momentum keeps you going, I guess.
When you have like an activity on like your to-do list, like a walk or, a workout, sometimes, you're like, oh, I don't want to do that kind of thing. But once you've done it, nobody ever regrets doing a workout.
Yeah.
People always regret skipping their workouts. So that may help get back with the mood kind of thing and getting kind of those going. And they're like, oh, if I get that checked off, maybe I can get these other items checked off.
Yeah. I think that's probably what's been so nice about this doing the 4-week pause thing is like it's on my to-do list now, where it wasn't like, I was very much a person that's like, oh, if I happen or if I realize I need a mood boosting walk, like I'll take it. Like I always think I'll just check in with myself regularly, and I don't.
No.
Like I get to the end of the day and I've sat and doom scrolled.
And then you're like,
too much.
oh, now it's getting dark outside. I don't want to go out. There's mosquitoes. And
Exactly. So no, I'm definitely like, it's been nice to have it on the quote unquote to-do list of the day and like a priority of fit it in, and then you do it, and then you feel great that you did it. Yeah. You don't regret it.
Yeah. So another benefit of regular movement is your heart health. As you get older and you're, that's a big issue, especially for older women. Yeah. Heart issues and heart attacks. So just getting your circulation going is the best thing you can do to prevent that. So
I think that was one of the most surprising things in that interview, the Huberman Lab and Mary Claire Haver, where she was talking about how our estrogen is dropping, and that's such a big part of our cardiovascular health. And, obviously she's saying you should get hormone replacement therapy, but I'm like, just any care to your cardio system in preparation for a lot of our natural support going away is a good thing. Because I don't... women and heart attacks just don't seem like they go together. That feels like a man issue, even though I think now it's becoming like way more information that women are drastically affected by cardio health. So,
and I think just because we show our symptoms different than men, it's harder to diagnose and to see. So it's even scarier because, of course, most of the studies are done on men and how to treat men, and that the drugs we have that help prevent this are all studied on men. So. And we know the best drug, the most effective drug at preventing this is just movement. So
move.
And it's free. So
how have y'all been hitting your movement goals?
Well,
what are your movement goals?
Well, so most World Health Organizations recommend 150 minutes of moderate movement. So I think that's a good thing to talk about is what counts as movement, how much movement do you need, and how are we getting it? And does it seem difficult? So my goal is 150 minutes of moderate movement a week. Now, there is a lot of benefits to more vigorous movement, sprint intervals, stuff like that, as far as increasing your VO2 max, which is a great sign of your longevity. But right now, I'm just focusing on 150 minutes at least of moderate movement. Moderate movement, some people call it zone 2. So it's having your heart rate in zone 2. So if you know your max heart rate, you can figure it out that way, or you can get a VO2 test and get it that way. Or you can do the talk test where you can have a conversation with somebody, but you can't sing is a way to think about it. So you need your heart rate raised, and it needs to be, you can't somebody asked if it wants a strength training count. And I was like, it doesn't for me because I take long breaks in between not long, but 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. So my heart rate doesn't stay sustained. So it needs to be sustained raised heart rate. I usually count it if it's at least 10 minutes of sustained heart rate. And I use my watch to kind of cheat and see where my heart rate is. But you can check in with yourself. I've noticed I know if my heart rate's getting too high when I'm walking up the hills or trying to keep up with my husband. I'm like, okay, I need to slow down. I can tell. And then I look at my watch. I'm like, oh yeah, it is getting out of zone 2. Or if I'm feeling like it's too easy, I'm like, okay, I need to pick up my pace. It is hard to keep it. I struggle with keeping in zone 2, but it's something you check in with yourself and see how you feel. So it needs to be sustained. But it doesn't need to be long. You don't need to do 150 minutes at once. You don't need to hike 3 miles every day. So you can break it up into 2 10-minute walks. You can do 1 20-minute walk. You can do 40 minutes one day and then none the next. So
Michelle, that hurt you to say none the next. You're like,
it didn't.
No, I'm kidding.
Did I walk?
Good.
I didn't
No,
walk yesterday.
Oh,
I didn't go on a walk yesterday. So
you did down to that lake.
That was not. We went kayaking. Well, we didn't. Our children did. Yeah. And canoeing yesterday.
Me and Shelly got in a boat.
Yeah. Okay.
I paddled.
But I didn't count that. But I guess you could because it probably took us, I don't know. It was just 5 minutes down to the lake. So.
That's true.
So yeah, I know you said you cheat and use your watch. I think we all have. I know we do. Yeah. Do you guys? I kind of use my watch as well.
I use mine because it'll start saying, "Oh, workout detected at 10 minutes," or walking detected, or whatever. So that's usually when I'll I'll know I did it kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll if I'm going for a walk, I'll just put that I'm going for a walk. But I think sometimes you are like accidentally, like, I guess, getting your heart rate up if you're going for a walk and you're not thinking about it. But they count those minutes as well. So
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, I use my walk to track my heart rate. I just kind of Googled what zone 2 was for me and try to figure it out that way. But yeah, it's kind of funny now that I know. Then it's like, okay, like, because if you say you're doing a workout, it gives you your heart rate, so it's like, okay,
Yeah,
I kind of try to
when I
stay
look
within
mine up on the
range.
phone, it'll tell me which zone I'm in.
Oh,
So
your
I don't-
watch does
Yeah,
that.
mine
Yeah, it
does,
has,
but
like,
it's
the-
different. You have a Garmin too?
Mine's Samsung, so I have
Okay.
like the
I have a
Samsung
Garmin,
Health.
and
And it tells you the zone you're in.
oh, it's so nice. I love this watch.
I just like I know what my heart rate is, and then I
See.
just kind of figure.
Yeah, I can
okay,
get the
I'm in
heart rate
Yeah, I
on
can
here,
go
but I have to go to the app
watch.
to get the zone.
Okay,
and then see,
no zone. That's cool.
Yeah.
What
So-
is zone 2?
I think it's different.
It's different.
It's
Depends on what
different.
your max
What
is.
is y'all's zone 2?
So mine.
Or do you know?
Yeah, I have a really high max heart rate. My heart rate is weird, so it just jumps right up. I don't know, but so mine is, I think I have to be between like 117 and 137 or something is my range.
Yeah, I think I'm similar. I'm like 125 to 135.
I'm
So
not
I try to stay in the 120s.
You
Yeah.
just get told by your watch.
Yeah, my watch told me. Yeah.
But there's so I think there's multiple calculators I think you can find online for free that you can use I think the one I used is by age, weight maybe, and resting heart rate. So mine was based off of resting
But if you
heart
know
rate.
what your max heart rate is, like
Yeah.
the highest you've ever got it, or if you're like sprinting and rolling, I did a VO2 max once test, so that's
Yeah.
another way how I know mine. But
I love the different levels in this room. Like you've tested your VO2 max like you're going to the NFL.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't know why.
she's so fancy. She's like breathing the machine on a treadmill. The doctor's like all
Literally.
testing her. I'm like, your
'Cause I
watch,
know my
Marie,
rest-
you have an Apple Watch. It tells you what your resting heart rate
I've
is.
got a Fitbit. What
Oh,
is mine?
does it tell you what your
Does it
resting
take
heart
your
rate
heart
is?
rate?
I only look at when I'm
I
on
was
my
gonna say,
period.
but
I'm too sweaty to.
But you can also like all of that technology. You
Yeah.
don't need that. You can just check in with yourself and see like, okay, my heart rate feels a little elevated. Like it's not like
I'm a computer now. I do not listen to my body.
same,
No,
but
but-
I almost feel like it's a little bad, like
Right.
because
I do
I'll
want-
rely on this too much and not how I feel.
Yeah, we don't want to
Right.
outsource everything
Yeah,
to our
right.
Fitbit.
True.
But I do.
I think especially as you're getting started, like you don't want to feel like
You
I
need to
think
know
it's
what it
encouraging.
feels
What's
like.
it feel like to be in that zone?
Yeah.
And I mean, like I think, yeah. So I think it is good, but
That's been my main way, and it's been up before I had knee surgery. That was my way, and then I kind of lost. It hurt when I walk, so I just stopped doing it. And now that I've made a point to start walking again, it's hurting less. So I'm like, I should have
That's
just been doing
good.
this 6 months ago.
Yeah.
we never
But-
regret it.
I know. But before it's like, oh, once I hit a mile, I was like limping, and I'm like, no, if I just keep going, then it gets better. It's just hard to push
Mhm.
through it. So walking is my like for my zone 2, for my just like regular movement. I enjoy it. I listen to books on tape all the time when I'm doing it. That's my thing, and that's
I love that.
what do you guys do? What's your movement?
I think it's mainly walking. I have a row machine at home, so I do some rowing. But I cannot seem to get my heart rate up as much rowing as I
Really?
do walking. So it's just funny. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm working just as hard. But
Yeah,
it's just different.
rowing
But
is-
because I'm sitting, maybe I don't know.
Rowing, I have trouble. Yeah. Cute. I also have a Peloton, so
Yeah.
the biking is much easier for me to maintain a heart rate doing the bike. But that's where I like to get my like sprint intervals in, is through the bike.
Through your
Through the
bike.
bike, yeah.
Mine's walking, especially when I go into work or whatever, and I have to walk to the
Oh,
car. That's a 10-minute walk to.
oh,
down
that's
the
a good
hill.
way to.
That's-
An easy way to
That's
add.
3 days a week. That's 30 minutes.
There you go.
And then if we go out for lunch, I work with most of the guys, so they have long legs, so I have to speed walk to keep up with them. So that's a 10-minute walk there and back sometimes, So again, I only count it if my watch gets triggered as saying, if I'm going fast enough for that. But usually it does. So if we're going close, it won't, kind of thing. So that I was out of town for work this past week at the hotel. So 2 of the nights of the 3 I was there, I did the treadmill for half an hour. So, and I have a treadmill at home that I can do. If it's not 1,000 degrees outside, I'll go outside with Everly. She likes to ride her bike, which we went on a walk the other day and she crashed into a mailbox. So,
You'll have to pay for that.
oh shoot, the mailbox was fine.
And then did you end up, I feel like when that happened, when my kids were little, then I'm carrying them and their bike home, and it's an ordeal.
She got back on. I made her get back on. I was like, all right. She was okay. She didn't like fall or anything. Like she kind of just tipped over. So, but I made her get back on and finish riding. So
Shelly said, rub some dirt in it.
Yep.
I mean, I think I'm definitely a family walk person. Like our loop is usually like we'll try to do 2 loops, but yeah, like it kind of gets everybody going. And then Wilder is very into the Hulk right now, and so we look up Hulk like workout videos for kids, and so me and him will do that, and then he's like, he thinks it's fun. I mean, this is to go back to your weighted vest. He likes to climb on top of me and ride my back as I do the Hulk workout very slowly and carefully, because I am an old mama. But no, every time I'm like, I think before with other kids, I would have been like, no, this is insane and your mommy's going to die. And now I'm like, are you a weighted vest? Is this good for osteoporosis?
You're like, you're just making sure your mama is strong. What a sweet child.
Yes. And that's why, he's not my favorite.
Oh,
I was about to say it, but I was like, Red will hear. Anyways. But yeah, so I think definitely family walks, and then in particular lately, Wilder and I have been getting our
Hulk
on. Our Hulk on.
Smash on.
Exactly.
have you found Danny Go yet?
We do. Yeah,
Okay.
he's got a
The
shark
kids like
video
that,
that
yeah.
we're.
I don't
I
know.
ordered a
Familiar with
weighted
this?
vest after your video, so I haven't tried it yet
Oh, I
because
wanna
I've been
get
out
one
of
too.
town. But I
Yeah,
did order
I'll show
it.
you the link to the one I ordered.
Okay.
And we'll
'Cause
show
there's-
it to you in the comment or in the somewhere below.
I think the big thing for
Not sponsored.
women, not at all sponsored,
but could be.
Please.
is where the clips are. So some people so I wanted one that clipped above my boobs. Not that I have a lot, but some of them go like where they look like it go right across, and some go above and below. So just that's what I would look at when you're looking at them. Is that I think for women they don't seem to be made particularly for women, but I like the one I have, and it's very comfortable.
So would that be the same or similar to like weighted, like the ankle stuff or the wrist stuff? Or,
I
you
think
get what I'm
that
saying?
yeah, I mean, I think the ankle stuff isn't putting. So you want to prevent like osteoporosis, you want the pressure in all your bones.
Oh,
so
I
if you're just putting it on
see.
your wrist or
Yeah.
ankles, that might like up your heart rate, or it might help build
Oh,
a little
but
calf
you want the
muscles or
pressure.
something. But it
Okay.
wouldn't be enough. You're not getting the progressive overload you need in strength training to build muscle
Okay.
that way. But for the weighted vest, and my husband likes to wear a like a rucksack. The military, they like to do that stuff. So he puts like weights inside of his rucksack when he's trying to like do that. But I don't like that because it's like all on your back.
Oh.
So I like the weighted vest because it kind of spreads it out evenly.
Okay.
So my Wilder plan, I need another child on the front.
Have another baby.
No.
Yeah, and when I was looking at it, trying to figure out what size to get, so I was kind of just Googling, and it said like no more than like 10% of your body weight was a good place to
They
start.
say they say it's a good place to start. 10% of your body weight. Yeah. But it isn't. I mean, I think you don't want to start too much. But I started with 12 pounds, and it does. Like I said, it doesn't feel. And I think
Heavy.
the smallest I have is like 8 pounds, and then it goes up to like 20. So
Okay.
Yeah, I think 15 is the one I ordered because that's about.
have you tried it yet?
No,
or
I haven't put it on. But it feels heavy to carry. So. But carrying it with my arms versus wearing it, I think would be
Yeah, it does,
different.
yeah. And when because I just kind of keep mine in my car, because that way, if sometimes I'll take my kid to school, go for a walk before I go to work. So I just like to keep it with me all times. So
Get you so
ready to go.
prepared.
Yeah, so prepared.
Love it.
But and some people like dancing, or there's all sorts of movement. It doesn't have to just be walking. I think that just seems to be an easy way
Yes.
and like a very practical, and it's easy to put it in small increments too. Like, okay, you have 10 minutes, you can get 10-minute walk in, or so that's why I like walking. And then it's easy to kind of look at your mileage and your steps, and like that's why I like it. But as long as you're moving, you're still going to get these benefits. So
Is there a shortest amount of incremental, I mean, like a time zone where you have to keep, like is 10 minutes probably the shortest amount?
that's what I use. I don't know if there's like studies about like this. I mean, they recommend for zone 2 training for people who are trying to do it for like maximum heart health for longevity. They recommend 20 minutes of zone 2, like staying in zone 2 for 20 minutes. But I'm like, if I'm sustained zone 2 for 10 minutes, I count that as my movement. But I don't know. I mean, I think any amount is it's good. You know, it's like if you have 5 minutes, you get 5 minutes. It's not like you don't
Or doing more than what you're doing now is good.
Yeah, exactly. If you were doing nothing and now you're doing 5 minutes a day, that's awesome, you know? So I don't think there's no reason to say like, oh, I don't have 20 minutes to go for a walk. There's no point of that. Like there's no point for that. You're getting the benefits.
I feel like the whole point of our 4-week pause is like to blast any excuses in a good way, in a good and gentle way. Exactly. Is like there isn't like our way is like Michelle, Vita, Shelley, like nobody has the right way. Like there's the one way that's getting you moving more than you were yesterday. Or
exactly. And just to be mindful about knowing, like we all know, like, okay, we want to set ourselves up to be healthy in these next stages of life. And we want to be able to walk and move and pick up our grandchildren. So what can we do now to set ourselves up for the next stage of life? And we all know, like everybody knows, like, okay, I need to move. And you don't want to say like, oh, I can't do this perfectly, so I'm not going to do it at all. Mm-hmm. So
yes,
which
we are all supportive of like basically finding the best way to kind of do more than what you were doing before if you felt like you weren't doing enough, basically. But if you feel like what you're doing is good, then keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, another thing I was going to say to bring up movement again, an easy way that it's kind of like walking is, you know, kind of very accessible to most people. But my little sister got one of those walking pads. It's like really inexpensive. Like you can get $100 walking pad and just like walk in your house while you're watching TV. Because sometimes you don't want to go out because it's hot, but treadmills can be kind of pricey too. And then they're huge. Like you might not have a space. Like I know yours is in like your office, but not everybody has an office. But this is something you can like throw under your bed or, you know.
So that works well. I wonder about those because they seem really cool, but I'm like.
She uses it. She loves it.
That's awesome.
I mean, I think some of them even have an incline on them, like a slight incline.
I was wondering if they had inclines, but I've been seeing them like advertisements.
Have y'all seen the cozy workouts? What is that? Well, I don't know. Some girl would get up. She was on TikTok and she was selling the walking pad basically. Like some girl, she was doing cozy workouts and linking to the walking pads that y'all are talking about. And so she'd just get up super early in the morning, like keep the lights down low, put her, like she had her, you know, not walking, like those blankets, like those Snuggie type,
the hoodie ones?
Like, the wearable blanket. I do too. And so she would just get up early, turn on the TV to whatever she wanted to watch that morning and just walk it. But it just looked so like she had like low light, you know, it was clearly not a aerobic YMCA workout situation.
Right, just getting some steps in.
Yeah, just getting her steps in. And so she was like, join me on the cozy workout. I don't know. We'll have to go look at the videos. But that idea of like, you almost don't even have to get out of bed if you want to keep the snugginess of the morning.
Who doesn't like to lay in bed and just like scroll through their phone? So might as well like
same thing,
keep it cozy, but
because it's so little. She lived in like a little apartment, you know, she had a super small living room. Like it was a very accessible way to kind of stacking, I guess, for single women stacking. They're like, I don't want to get out of bed. Yeah. So I'll bring the bed to the treadmill.
Is this a new term? You've used it, stacking. Oh. What does that mean? You influencer follower people. Well, no, have you heard this term?
Yeah. Stacking, Shelley, have you? So I was really into this woman named Katie Bowman, who is Movement Matters. So she's all about like movement patterns and just she's really big on like shoes and everything. So after I gave birth to my second child, my body just was not happy anymore. So that's when I transitioned completely to, you know, like barefoot, zero drop and all that. But her big thing, like it is just movement. She's one of her books is about like the dangers of sitting too much and things like that. So she's really big on stacking your movement because if you do like the amount, because in modern society, we just don't have to move the way our bodies were built to move. And because of that, we're having all these issues, you know, like we sit here like this instead of, you know, we don't have to like crack all the beans and we don't even cooking and everything. Like we can buy stuff pre-cut and all that. So we're missing a lot of these small movements and these big movements. So we're losing movement in our extremities. We're losing some of our dexterity and, you know, our spine and everything. It's just different than the way our bodies were designed for. But to get the amount of movement you need can be time consuming. So she talks about stacking your habits. So like, you know, take your homeschool group for a hike or, you know, like spend, you know, like Marie and I used to go for a weekly walk. So we got like our social time and our, you know, movement time.
It's a new word for multitasking.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So stacking your habits, stacking your to-do list.
Right. Like how many birds can you kill with this stone to go ancient?
I've seen a guy downtown walking when I'm going to work and he's got like his laptop bag in one hand, but he's walking down the street lifting it like this.
Oh.
Like like multiple days I've seen this. So I assume he switches arms halfway to his destination. But at first I was like, what is he doing? And then I assumed, I was like, he must be trying to like just work out his arms while he's walking, you know? So maybe he's kind of stacking his strength training arms while he's walking to work.
Okay.
So
I don't know, but I think
That's
if
a
you
cool
look
concept.
at it, yeah, and it's just like because it can seem overwhelming. You're like, I have no free time left. Like, but you're like, okay, well, then how can I do stuff that I already have to do or already want to do?
Yes.
And make it.
I like the whole stacking, like you said, the scrolling your phone or just like, you know, sometimes you decompress and you want to watch a show. You want to kind of be like brainless, but you can still probably walk slowly, get some steps in while you're being kind of like.
I mean, even more, what do you call it, accessible? I would just march in place. Like I could, I mean, you have to like go pretty high knees to get to
your heart rate up.
But I was like, even because then it was like, we have a treadmill.
The kids needed help accessing screens while we talked about movement #real life.
No. Come here. You've locked yourself out. You gotta wait. I'll bring it up to you. Why did you ask Brother to help you? You don't know the password.
Oh, what am I doing? I need internet. Oh, I guess I
Here, do you want me to log you on?
No, it's in there.
They
Are you
watch
sure?
a movie.
Yeah, it's
together
Oh, wait, hold it.
on their own.
You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I've got 4 minutes. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no,
You're good. Well, we can just, I think
It's
this is
actually fine. Oh,
yeah,
no, this is
I think this is great. I mean, like we're just talked about why movement is important, especially as we're getting older, and ways we like to get our movement. How much are you guys all? We didn't talk about how much movement we're aiming for. Are you guys all aiming for 150 minutes a week, or you did a certain amount a day, or how are you guys looking at that?
for the pause, I did 90 just because, not counting it with the strength training. So I started with 90 just to, because that's a new thing that was adding.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to go too ambitious and then not be able to get there. And because that would hurt my goal seeking feelings, I guess.
But I think that's great. Like, look at where you are. If you're doing like, why would you say, okay, I'm going to do 300 minutes a week? You know, like make it something attainable that, I think that's
like when
That's
we were
great, Shelley.
talking about doing steps. Like I think last year you were very like, what is it, 4,000 or 8,000 steps?
I was like crazy about making sure I got 8,200 steps a day.
Yeah.
So like, and literally I remember like the first day I went skiing, and the skiing didn't count as steps, and I was exhausted because I was new to skiing, and I was like walking up and down the like streets at night because I was like, gotta get my steps in. And then I tore my ACL the next day and I didn't get steps in for a year. But I was like, my body had moved. It was tired, but because I had this like, oh no, those didn't count as steps. So now I'm like, if I ride my bike, those don't count as steps, but I'm still getting movement in. So it's like
Zone 2 is way better.
Yeah. So but even now I still look and I'm like, oh, I only had 6,500 steps. Like if I could just go for a little walk, but I'm like, no, I rode my bike. So they count like it's
a mental, but
it
like,
is.
So when you said 8,000, I was like, I can't do 8,000, but I was like, I'll double the steps I'm doing now because that was more realistic for me than trying to, but kind of gauging where's your starting point and then going from there versus
like
we all got to do.
Yeah, I think if you're being mindful about it and doing better than you were yesterday, better than you were last week, like trying to set good habits, like that's great. That's perfect.
Yeah, because I was trying to do 3 workouts a week, and then I usually don't try to do like treadmill on the same day I do the workout, because to me, if I put 45 minutes in, I've met my daily goal. So I've like, I'll do that the other days, and then so I was like 3 days of 30 minutes was kind of where I came up with that 90.
I noticed since we started this pause and I was like 150 minutes, I have got over 300 minutes of movement every week, and I haven't tried. I've been trying to get 150. It's just because I've built in this habit of going for these daily either short or longer walks, depending on whether I'm doing strength training or not that day. Like my movement has like way more than doubled just because I was aiming for 150. I've been able to get so much more because I'm like,
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like the posters in elementary school. Shoot for the moon, land among the stars.
Exactly.
I think that's like
awesome. So I'm enjoying this part of the challenge a lot. I think it's a great way to make me feel accountable to myself and then to you guys about movement.
I love it. Yeah. I don't I guess my goal is like 20. I don't know. I'm saying 20 minutes a day so that's about 140, right? Yeah. So, and that it's just been surprisingly easier than I thought because I didn't pay attention before.
What we were talking about, Vita, is just going through what our personal goals were as far as movement for this pause. And mine was 150. Shelley was doing 90. Marie was doing 20 minutes a day. Do you have particular
so the way
goals?
My watch? So I know we didn't be overly dependent, but it has like a move calories, but it basically I think it converts minutes to calories based off like when whenever you're doing like brisk movement or something equivalent to brisk walking. So I just did like 400 calories. Like that's my movement goal.
Right.
And so
if you close that ring,
if I close that ring, I just count it as moves. So it's not really, I was trying to do minutes, but then I felt like I wasn't catching the minutes that I wasn't like really like the walking, you know, if I want to go get a coffee in the middle of work or something like that. It's not catching some of that. I mean, like you said, it's not a ton, but I wanted to capture every like little minute or two.
I think that's a great, I like your way because it's different than ours and they're all valid.
And it's
so
easy because I'll just be like, did I close my move ring today? And that's how I do it.
Yeah, I think that's why I look at.
But if I look at my weekly, so it doesn't do a weekly move time, but it does. It doesn't do a daily for some reason. But I can do like a weekly summary, and it'll say like for instance, so far this week I've moved. I have an active time of 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I mean, it's kind of it's getting to the 150 minutes.
No. See, that's what mine does. So mine's like the week. So like I moved 362 minutes over the last 7 days. And then, so I can look at it like per week, how much I've got.
Yeah. So I can do the weekly too. So, I can do
mine gives me my daily and my weekly.
I don't know how to get it daily. That's why I
your
can't
phone
do it.
app may give you more because my app on the phone gives more details than what the watch gives.
So that might be it. But I just do my daily, it does a daily move calorie count. So I just go by that.
Yeah. That's what my husband does. He focuses on closing his rings.
Yes.
And he always, when asked if you want to increase your movement goal, he always says yes. Always says yes.
Really?
Yes.
I'm fine with 400. My husband, we share goals. So I can see his stuff.
Yeah. That's how.
And I'm just like, how do you get so many steps in and so many, how are you burning so many calories? But
well, first of all, he's bigger.
He's bigger. Yeah.
Breathing, he burns more calories than you do.
So he's bigger. But also, I feel like I think men generally just are better at prioritizing themselves, if that makes sense.
Amen. Absolutely.
So they're the only one they have to prioritize.
Huh?
You have you and two others.
Exactly. So I'm like, how are you always getting? He's like, I just prioritize getting my steps in.
And what are you doing, Vita?
Well, even at work, like he'll be like, I'm going to take a round. And I feel so bad about like in the middle of the day, just taking a 15-minute like walk
I wouldn't
break.
Yeah.
I need to he's like, you just need to get up and walk every hour. And I just like, I feel bad. Like they'll notice and they're going to be like, you're not being productive. He's like, but he doesn't. He doesn't care. He's like, this is what, these are my personal life goals. And I'm just going to, every couple hours, take a 10-minute walk. Like,
do you mostly work with men, right? I mean, or is it pretty mixed?
Well, I have a lot of females in my office right now. So
I don't know. I just feel like at the company I work for, it's construction, mostly men. I feel like they're so good at prioritizing themselves and they really encourage it in us as well. Like I think you'd be surprised that nobody would care or notice that because I don't know because I've never worked in a woman dominated industry, but I don't know what that's like. I won't even talk, but I feel like men and working for men, they're like, no, I'm going, like, I hear it all the time. They're like, you have to go on vacation. Like, why would you not? Or you have, like, a lot of them go work out on their lunch breaks. Like that idea of course, why wouldn't you do what you need to do to get, like, and I think they ultimately know it makes you a better employee too. So
yeah, you're right. And I don't think anybody said anything. It's just my perception of like, she's not 100% productive. She's not a good employee. Whereas I don't think anybody would notice if I walked around for like 5 minutes at the end of the hour.
And it might make you more productive. Yeah. But I agree. I'm the same way. I'm like, besides just like walking up and down the stairs for stuff you have to do. Like, I'm not going outside and going for a walk. I am at work, but I like it. I like how we all have different ways. We all have different goals, all different ways of doing it. And I think we've all increased our movement. And I think that's setting us up great for our next stage of life. So I think I like this goal for the pause. And I think it's effective. And I appreciate hearing the different ways we set our goals and the different ways we're hitting them and how it's making us feel.
I love it. Good job, ladies.
Yay.